Hey, what is going on YouTube? Hey, Aaron here. We are back. Yes, so soon yet again, everybody. We have an emergency video to do because when I dropped my video today, I did not know that Wargaming dropped yet another teaser image. And guys, at least to me anyway, this one is a lot more exciting than the Admiral Schroeder because, and a few of you have already figured it out, a huge shout out to Mr. Phalanx here, who is now a member, so shout out twice for that. But the Z-52, the Z-52, the German tech tree tier 10 destroyer, which is going to be an absolute beast here in Legends. And we are finally approaching that time. And also shout out to Legendary V19. I think you guys can see my Discord here, so make sure you join it for a lot of tomfoolery. But the Z-52, guys, I think is really going to balance out Legendary tier, at least in terms of destroyers. And what we mean by that is the Daring right now is one of the top performing, one of the best overall destroyers at the tier. And the reason being is mainly her Hydro. Now, of course, the British destroyers are excellent. They're some of my favorite. We've got an upcoming video on lines to grind, and they are definitely top in terms, top in that line, in that regard, in terms of, destroyers to grind anyway. And the reason being is their versatility. They have good, I say good, they have decent torpedoes, good guns, the Hydro, the short duration smoke, but especially at Legendary tier, the Daring does not have a counter. Well, the German destroyers are the true counter to the British destroyers. And I say that because the German destroyers have a little bit harder hitting guns as well as a longer range Hydro. Now, of course, the trade-off is they don't have quite the maneuverability that the British do. It's kind of like both the German and the British destroyers are the jack of all trades, meaning they have a little bit of everything. But let's go ahead and look at the stats of the Z-52 on PC, and it's safe to assume that a lot of them will remain the same, but just keep in mind that some of them could change. Something that is a little bit different about the Z-52, kind of, I think of it like a Z-23, except that the Z-23 does get the higher caliber gun modification, where the Z-52 is kind of the most advanced of the line. The Z-46 is fantastic in her own right, but I guess one of the main differences would be the guns in the front. So you do not have to put yourself in that kiting position or kind of turning away, which is definitely a situation that you can kind of get yourself into trouble in if you are trying to push in and out Hydro those other destroyers. But the reload on those is 3.8 seconds. With our commanders, we could probably get that down to close to probably under 3 seconds. But yeah, there will be a lot of fun builds. I'm super excited about this ship. 20,300 health. I think ours will be a touch more, maybe, not exactly sure. But torpedoes here, the max upgrade with the range is 10.5 kilometers, 14,400 max damage with a, where's the concealment? Well, the speed is 69 knots and their detectability, well, should be right around, is it under the torpedoes? I'm blanking right now as I do this live, but regardless, the torpedo detection should be decent. The German torpedoes are average, but you get a pretty good reload time on 90 seconds, and there's actually a few commanders you could use, Blue Fiora as one, to really decrease that torpedo reload, but this is definitely more of a gun. I would definitely use Eric Bay. A gun-focused type build is going to lend you, and the reason being is the Hydroacoustic search. Read these few lines here. This is kind of the reason that the Z-52 is so strong. She can use the stronger German Hydro from her predecessor Z-46. Her Hydro increases from 98 seconds to 122 seconds, and the ship spotting goes up from 5 to 6 kilometers. Now, the detection ranges on PC are a little bit more, so I think that they say her detection range is 6 kilometers or 6.1, but the significant increase in range allows the Z-52 to control capture points and push out enemy destroyers with her concealment just 0.1 kilometers larger than her Hydro range. So what that means is if you are heading towards a target and you are spotted and they are not, if you push 1 kilometer further or 100 meters, sorry, not 1 kilometer, 100 meters further, you will be able to detect that destroyer regardless if you spot them or not. You can almost, and I say almost, and we don't know because of different commanders, crossing over from the PC version, if you can stealth Hydro. So it could be a possibility. I know that the Z Z-39 or the Z-35 could before the nerf to concealment. And quite honestly, our concealment for destroyers in this game is bordering on broken. I know that they did adjust a few of the commanders, but Japanese ships still getting under 5 kilometers is we're basically, we already have submarines in the game with some of these ships' concealment. But regardless, here, let's go ahead and review. Yeah, 6.1 max concealment. There it was. Pros and cons: good main battery, rate of fire and traverse speed, excellent HE penetration, and of course with the German quarter pen you should be able to penetrate 32 millimeters worth of plating. And some people, if they don't know what that means, on top of potentially doing fire damage, if you get a fire, your shells are also doing damage to that armor. And if people didn't know, you can shatter HE shells. For example, the Americans have similar gun calibers, but they don't quite have the same penetration value. So on top of that, you have good AP as well. Fast torpedoes with good range, fastest torpedo reload among tier 10 destroyers. Are they sure about that? Because the Holland, I don't think that's correct. But anyway, good AA suite, fairly good hit point pool, and long range and long lasting hydroacoustic search. So what I was talking about earlier in balancing or countering the British destroyers, you can now outrange the British destroyers. So a trick that a lot of people who play the Daring and other British destroyers use, myself included, is they push in on a target with good concealment. If they catch the target heading towards them, they shoot a little bit. They shoot a few points, a few hit points or a few salvos. They get that other destroyer to shoot and or smoke up. If they smoke up, they press with their hydro. If they don't, then they smoke themselves because of the short smoke screen of the British. You have multiple of them as well. And then they wait for them to push into them, getting, 5 to 10 salvos for free if the other destroyer decides to push all the way in, etc. So this will definitely counter the Daring. I'm excited to have it at legendary tier. Let's go and read the cons, and then we will end this video. It is late here. I'm sorry I didn't stream tonight. I'm just tired, in all honesty. Cons: worst smoke generator performance in its tier class. Not a huge deal, but it will be frustrating sometimes. You want to get a good smoke screen and use your guns, etc. But you'll have to work around that. Low torpedo damage and flood chance, large turn radius, and subpar rudder. Fairly poor concealment. I don't think Legends, I bet it's going to be like 5.2, 5.3 with a max concealment build, maybe 5.1, 5.2. We'll figure it out. Large target, tends to eat full penetrations from all non-BB AP shells. So I'm going to draw a blank now, but any caliber over 280, 283 will only do overpen damage to destroyers. So if you've got a medium caliber ship, a cruiser for example, you load AP, you catch some of these destroyers with a little bit more armor, you're going to be doing full penetrations, and that is why the German alternate line is actually really good at just eating destroyers with that AP. But regardless, we have potential for another ship to be added to the worst thing in Legends, which is the Research Bureau. So yeah, that is the Z-52, a brief little look at her here. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and me blabbering there. I will see you guys tomorrow, or maybe the next day, or sometime soon here. Yeah, we I think I just secured a really good job for myself, and life is looking good. So that means no Legends. No, I'm just kidding. I will definitely have to give back to the members and you guys, of course, the viewers. So I really appreciate you guys. I love you boys and girls, and I will see you guys, or prefer, I love you gentlemen and lady. Yeah, hello, Chris Hansen. No. But I hope you guys have a great evening. I'm out. Peace.